I want to be positive about this as much as I can, but I can't. It's just this is something here that you say to yourself, "OMG," whatever. I want to be positive about this because I didn't think that this could really happen, but it's happening, and it's happening at a rapid pace. You know, um, I'm really, I'm kind of nervous about the whole thing because if the hackers are taking over that bad, we could be in the Stone Age. It would be that easy for hackers to go to like different cities and just shut down power plants and stuff, and they could just turn off electricity. You know, and we'll just be in the Stone Age, even though they won't have power either. But think about it like this: if hackers can go and hack Sony servers and get all this information, I mean, 100 terabytes. Do you know how much information that you would have if you had 100 terabytes worth? That is 100,000 gigabytes of people's data, celebrities' data, employees' data. I got this from Richard Review Tech, by the way. I look at his videos and I just have my own thoughts about the videos that he makes. But this is crazy because it's not only from Richard Review Tech. I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at different videos and stuff like that, and I'm seeing this thing. It is imploding, okay, and is happening at a rapid pace. Xbox Live accounts has been hacked. PSN this past week, someone had their PSN account hacked. Someone bought the game Shadow of Mordor, which I heard is a very good game. I tried to play it, don't like it. I'm sorry. Dragon Age is better to me than that stuff. But if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you'll love Shadow of Mordor or whatever. But okay, so this hacker got into this guy's account, right? And he took his credit card information. He bought the Shadow of Mordor game for, I think it was like the PS4. Okay, so the guy that had his account hacked, he calls PS4 customer service, right? And I listened to the whole conversation that he had with the PS4 customer service. So this guy is basically giving them the ring around, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Telling them that basically I can't do nothing for you. Okay, you know that. This is when I was listening on the conversation. You know the account that has the game. You know that's not my not account, but console. You know the console that has the game. You know that console isn't associated with my console, so it has to be hacked. Somebody has to come into my account, steal my credit card information, and buy that game. You know that already. But you're telling me that you can't do nothing for me. The best thing you can do is to tell me to go to your website or whatever and file a complaint. That's the best you can do. That's the best you can do. You know my account has been hacked. Why can't you do anything about my account? This is what the guy, he was pouring himself. He was like, he was saying, I understand you can't do it. You're just someone that's, just trying to, you're trying to do the best you can to help me, whatever. But at the same time, you can't refund my money. He was just trying to pour himself out to this guy. He was giving all the guy that had his account hacked. He was giving us information, all the customer service and stuff like that. And PSA just could not do anything for him. It is a shame how, it's so messed up how I call customer service. My account's been hacked. But you telling me, once you agree to the terms and all that, or the PSN or Xbox Live, whatever, you're bound to those terms. And you can't get out of those terms no matter what you do. If you buy a game, whatever, that game is yours, no matter if it's hacked, no matter if a little kid got it, a hold of it, whatever the case may be, that game is yours. And it's so messed up where, like, I don't even want, what? I took off my credit card information on Xbox Live. I said, forget it. Because if that happened to me, I'm going to be totally pissed. I'm be calling Xbox Live saying some things to them. But at the same time, they're not going to help me. So it's kind of will be a waste of time because they're just going to say, well, if you can file a complaint, we'll shut the person who has the legal copy of the game, the legal digital copy of the game. We'll ban his account. We'll ban, for him from Xbox Live, whatever, or PSN, whatever the case may be. But he still gets to keep the game. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting up here like, oh my goodness. I'm like, you know what? I am just going. I'm taking all my credit card information off. That's it. I'm done. I'm not going to buy no digital copies. That's it. I'm done with that. I'm not going to buy no more add-ons or none of that stuff, unless I can get it from some other way. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if Amazon or eBay, if I could buy add-ons from that website, I'll do it a different way. But I am not giving Xbox Live my information no more. Maybe I can do it on Xbox.com, whatever, whatever the case may be. But these hackers, they are gaining power. Do you know why I'm saying they're gaining power? Do you know what they did to Sony Pictures? Sony Pictures. These people make over 100 million. These people are not like almost billionaires, okay? They make a shitload of money. And these hackers, because of this movie that was supposed to come out about Kim Jong-un or whatever, the big leader over there in North Korea, North Korea basically threatened Sony Pictures saying, if you make this here, if you put this movie in the studios, we are basically, there's going to be something similar to 9/11, It's going to be something similar to 9/11. And I don't know what these hackers, what they're planning to do, whatever, or what they was planning to do if that movie was released, But, what you're going to do on the internet. What are you going to do on the internet? You're a hacking group. You're not like, you're internet terrorists. You're not terrorists for real, Even though North Korea is way threatened, those people are nuts over there, you know what I'm saying? But, well, I guess that's what they was basically saying. They was going to drop bombs and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. North Korea is definitely a threat to the U.S. and to the entire world. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that will tell you. You watching a bunch of YouTube videos or whatever. I mean, look up on Google. These people are crazy. They are nuts. You know what I'm saying? And they are definitely to be taken serious. I mean, Dennis Rodman came over there and, he was hanging out with Kim Jong-un or whatever, and he come back to the States, and the next thing you know, North Korea thinking that, people in the States are making fun of Kim Jong-un, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Just say something about Kim Jong-un. Say something that he's short, that he's fast, something like that. Say something about that, and they take that serious. They want to go to war. They are ready to go to war with anybody in the whole damn world. They don't care. North Korea is crazy. They're nuts. But, man, for North Korea, and we found out that the hackers was actually North Korea who threatened Sony Pictures. We found that out. I'm like, man, that's nuts. That is crazy. I feel sorry for North Korea's people. I feel sorry for them. I really do. Man, to go to that dictatorship and, you know what I'm saying, to be in control of this little crazy man who's just, he's just, has so much power, and he's just drunk with power, He loves just having power. He loves just telling people, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that to you, and there's nothing you can do about it, Yeah, I sat up there and I looked, and when I seen that these North Korean hackers, they basically got the best of Sony, and I'm seeing more of these hacking groups just going on, and now they gaining popularity and all that. Oh my goodness, man! I'm telling you, it won't be long until this whole country, most of the country could be basically just wiped out just by hackers just going on different servers, different type of servers, whatever, and just shutting down things. You know what I'm saying? It can happen. You know, and I'm really afraid of that. I really am afraid of it. You know, and the FBI, you can only do as much as you can. The government, you can only do as much as you can trying to find these people. But there's so many of them nowadays. You know, think about it like this, right? These hackers are they're taking over accounts, and these other small time hackers, you know, or these upcoming hackers, let's say, they're looking at it and they're seeing how they're gaining power from all of what they're doing. You know, they seeing how they're taking over Xbox, they're taking over PSN accounts, they're taking over Steam. You know what I'm saying? And they're gaining power. You know, so here come these upcoming hackers. They're like, hey, we want to be big time too. You know, look, the North Korea hackers did with Sony. You know, they canceled the whole movie of the interview. You know, which were a lot of people in America, they definitely wanted to see that parody of Kim Jong-un. You know, and here come North Korea saying, well, you're not going to make fun of our leader. We're going to shut you down. And Sony, with the toughest decision that Sony had to make, that was an absolute tough decision. It was absolutely tough because if they did go with it, with Sony being as nuts as they are, as crazy as they are, they could have actually went and dropped some bombs on the U.S. They got they have it. They have the nuclear, they have the nuclear missiles and stuff like that, the drones. I'm pretty sure they do. You know, they got it. They can make a threat to the U.S. and they could be on and popping. And then here we go with another war. We don't need it right now, you know, but it can happen with North Korea. North Korea could threaten anybody, and if they say they're going to do something, most likely they're going to do something. We need ties with North Korea right now. We do, you know. So, but just for them going out there and saying they had everybody's like information. They went once the North Korea hackers, once they got into the servers, they got everybody's information. They posted it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even celebrities' information. It was just crazy. It was crazy. Sony had no choice. The boss at Sony, it was a very, very tough decision when the whole country wanted to see that movie. I was even looking forward to that movie. But, you know, say something about that little man. And boy, I tell you, you're going to have some trouble. That's why they was like they held back on releasing it. They had to. They don't doubt North Korea. Don't doubt them for a second. Even if you make fun, if you say anything about them, they can just say, okay, we're going to war now. We're going to hack. We're going to drop some in. We're going to do, you know, we're going to threaten y'all until y'all, you know, basically give us the respect that we deserve. That's what they tell. That's what they said. And North Korea won. They won. So hackers are really taking over. And it's sad that the government, FBI, there's nobody that can really stop these hackers. You know, there's going to be more upcoming hackers more than ever. You're going to see newly found hackers just coming up, and it's just going to be mayhem. It's going to be chaos in the near future. I'm afraid of the future, man. I'm afraid of the future. You know what I'm saying? I really am. I'm like, man. Oh, well, you know what? We have to be prepared for anything in life. We have to be prepared. You know, there's nothing that we can do as far as people. We can have our voices heard. We can protest and stuff like that. But you can't do anything against hackers. You can protest all day. You can call Congress, whatever the case may be. You can call the government and have your voice heard, leave all kind of messages all day and night, but you cannot stop hackers. You know, you cannot stop hackers. I'm sad to say this, and I don't really want to say it because, you know, we can't let these hackers win, but at the same time, I got to say it, though. The only way for really to stop hackers, you got to make a deal with them and try to offer some money or something. You know what I'm saying? But you know what hackers will do? They'll take advantage of that, and they'll just post how probably on Twitter or something like that, how, oh, look, we're getting paid for what we do, you know? How do you stop hackers? How do you stop hackers? That is the question that the government, the FBI, CIA, whatever the case may be, y'all need to ask yourself. How do you stop hackers from hacking major studios, major movie studios like Sony? How do you stop this? And how do you stop it to a point where it's permanent and it doesn't happen again? You need to think about that. These people who's trying to FBI and stuff like, y'all need to think about this, because we are at a point right now that this is serious. This is red alert. This is like almost at the top of the level when it gets to a threat. This is almost at the top. Hackers are taking over, and something soon, before it gets worse, something has to be done. All right, this your boy, the Bear Williams, and that's my rant. That's my thought. And if I don't make another video before Christmas, y'all have an excellent Christmas. I know everybody's out there. They're Christmas shopping like crazy. Just be careful. And definitely, please, be careful with scammers, because this is the season where there are more scams than any other time of the year. So please be careful online and at the stores and at the mall. God bless y'all.